Fantasy art history with Avalon and Joe.
Hey, happy Halloween.
Hey, yeah,
Adelaide.
happy early Halloween. Are you going to go to Celine's thing on Halloween?
Oh, are you gonna go?
Am I going to go? Yeah, I'm going to.
Oh.
What, did you not have a good time last year?
I mean, there's that whole thing with the apple bobbing. Did you? Oh, maybe you already left when the apple bobbing started. It was kind of, it kind of got kind of too rowdy and well...
What happened?
all the apples in the water and everything, and they all were on the... It was a... Let's just say it's a big mess. That's a game from a more innocent time when you could pour a bucket of water onto the floor of a apartment and the people down below didn't get mad.
Yeah.
And also, she
Well,
never... You know what else?
What?
You know? She never gets any candy corn.
Yeah, because she's a right-thinking person.
Look, I know it's funny.
Am I just finding
know,
this out
I
about
know.
you, that you like candy corn like regular candy?
It's
You
like...
think of candy corn as candy?
It's like for the season. It's special. It's a treat for the...
Yeah,
For the-
Christmas trees are seasonal too, but I don't put them in my mouth.
Look, I know you think you're really clever because you're all down on candy corn, then everyone likes to get down on candy corn. That's a terrible cliche. It's actually a perfectly fine, waxy product of our culture, and I think it's really tasty, actually.
Oh.
And I also was, the thing with the apple bobbing, that was probably my fault, so
Yeah.
I don't...
Because I've seen you bob for apples before, and you really kind of go in there. You approach it with gusto, which I think is the right way to do it, but maybe she didn't have a very bottom-heavy barrel.
We'd been partying for a long time, but the time the apple
Yeah.
bobbing started, and maybe I got a little carried away.
Sure. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
So is this of a less of a won't be going and more of a not invited back?
Let's say it's maybe, if I go, I better have a pretty good costume. The
Yeah.
kind where they can't tell who you are.
Yeah, I take your meaning.
Yeah.
Well, are you ready to talk about today's Halloween appropriate artist?
Yeah, can you come over a little closer, Abelard, because I'm afraid I'm going to get scared. Because
Yeah.
actually, hi folks, happy Halloween.
Hi.
We're addressing you out there right now.
Yep.
I hope you're all wrapped up and you're feeling very safe and secure right now, because let me tell you, about 2 weeks ago, I said to Abelard, Abelard, what's the scariest thing you can think of?
And I said, the work of Al Columbia.
And I said, I haven't read that. And then I went to the library and I got some. You can just get this stuff from the library. Did you
Yeah,
know that? They'll be like, hey, yeah, I guess you can have Pim and Fancy by Al Columbia. We just pass out any kind of book to anyone.
Yep.
Well, and that's, this is a good time to say, although we are not going to be looking at the most distressing images from this book, if you happen to watch this and you're like, wow, I want to read the rest of this, big content warning, folks.
Yeah. For pretty much whatever you care to name.
Yeah. It's beautifully drawn images of somebody who is, I assume, maybe exercising the worst thoughts that he has by putting them down on paper. So...
Certainly someone in touch with really dark parts of the unconscious, I would say.
Yeah.
And not just that the material is objectionable from a subject matter standpoint, although it also
some
is.
of it is.
But it's also the case that much of it is really unsettling. Just on that alone, I would say you might want to save this one until you're in a good headspace.
Yeah. And some of it's, there's some, I'm a sock, and I don't think I have a gender, but if I was a human woman, I would probably find a bunch of this stuff specifically extremely hard to look at. So Just be aware.
Be aware.
Be aware.
And this is not saying don't check it out.
Oh no, you should read this. It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
It's really like haunting, and it will stick with you for a number of fascinating reasons. It's great. It really actually is extremely scary.
It's very good. It's very scary.
Yeah.
I'd love to get into it.
Well, why don't I go fetch the very first image?
Yep.
Here we go.
And so Al Columbia doesn't have a huge body of work, and his work isn't that easy to get a hold of. Pretty much anything, if you actually want to own it, is pretty difficult. It's on the secondary market. Today we've read a couple of things. So I think we've both read all of Biologic Show. We've read Pim and Francie. He also has another book called Amnesia that we're not going to talk about today. We're really just going to focus on the Pim and Francie stuff. So this isn't representative of his whole body of work, but I think you can see a lot of what he does here. It's also really formally unusual, which I think we'll talk about in the next image a little more.
Yeah, but let's just, as an introduction to the formal sort of unsolved issues of this book, I brought this book home from the Chicago Public Library, opened it up, spent 10 minutes with it, and then I said, Abelard, what's going on with this book? And I know how to read. I read a lot of books, even comic books. I'm used to it. Not this kind of book.
Yeah, you might expect that if you got a book called Pim and Francie, it would be and it was like, I don't know, 200 pages long. It would be 200 pages of comics about characters named Pim and Francie. But that's not really what you're getting here.
No.
Every few pages, often every page, is its own standalone thing at various levels of finish, and I would say it's impossible to tell whether this is intended to be presented in this kind of intermediate, unworked state. Even in the image we're looking at, which is pretty finished, you can see in the fourth panel there's a lot of stuff that's just penciled in and not inked, like on the walls. You will see images that are cropped, you'll see images that are taped or cut up, and not in a sort of like gleefully destroying the work way, but just in a maybe I pulled this out of the wastebasket way, or I'm trying to create the impression that I did that. It's really difficult to interpret.
This book reading this book is an experience of being dissatisfied and continually having things, sort of having the ground pulled out from under your feet. It's very powerful in that way. So this little 4-panel set that we're looking at here, which to all appearances seems to be the introduction to a specific story that you would expect to continue, this is just out adrift in the pages of the book.
Yeah.
Some of the knife man, he sort of, that is alluded to by this strange detective, he kind of is around, and he does seem to be involved in some sort of foggy narrative, but after these 4 panels, that's it. The book just goes somewhere else after that.
You never see the detective character again.
No.
You don't even see a lot of backgrounds that are drawn this way again.
Mm-mm. So here's the other thing that we should talk about. As you can see, looking at this image, this is drawn in the style of the past.
Yeah. Like early Disney Fleischer animation, puffy white glove cartooning. And very astute, only the most astute readers will notice that Pim and Francie are wearing little Mickey Mouse hats.
Yeah. So this is, Abelard does not feel this is an interesting topic, so we'll only touch on it very briefly. But basically, I think the through line of the work of Al Columbia is his either like love of or adoption of this visual vernacular language from, the early days of animation, from the 30s or the 40s. Everything he draws, almost everything he draws that I've seen is either in this style, which he has an absolute mastery of, or in something that seems to have developed from this style. And
I don't think Biologic Show looks like this at all.
It looks a little like it. Okay.
I think this is much more of a stylistic pastiche. Biologic Show to me looks a lot more like the like inky black and white indie comics of its peers, just executed at a very high level.
I do think this is, I personally, I do think this is interesting because this sort of blend of something that it was cute in the past, it's still cute now. Mickey Mouse, he's so cute. With something that is disturbing is a very common thing you see in, like, everyone loves to do this. Usually when you see this in culture, like, I mean, even like in that like Cuphead video game maybe would be
Sure.
a place you would see this where you're like, oh, it's adorable and old fashioned, but also we've put in like a actually scary devil or whatever. I think usually when you see that done, they still stop way short of being actually disturbing, and
Yeah.
this stuff does not stop short of that. So the kind of like cuteness and the stylization of these images, once you get into them, and we won't be looking at any of the real gruesome stuff here, it's legit, like, very as gruesome as you can make it. And I don't know. I think it is interesting that he has, for whatever reason, he has chosen to do these things this way. He clearly loves, I mean, look at the line work. It's exquisite. Look at in the first panel, the word balloons that are kind of hovering up there and no one's saying anything in them,
Yep.
which is great. One of them seems to be coming from off screen. Just getting a brush and going whoosh, 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 perfectly. Like, like the orderliness of the drawings of those buildings behind them, and the little like, oh, the little bouncy grass that's growing up behind that fence. There are parts in this book where you turn a page and there's a drawing of trees, and the trees all have that wonderful sort of bouncing curve, but then he's somehow put on so many bouncing tree curves in the leaves that it looks you look at them and you feel like you're going insane.
Yeah.
It's too much. You did it too much. And just like taking that visual, because actually a real tree doesn't look like that, but we're so used to seeing it that way. But what if you overdo it? What does that do to your experience of viewing it? It's incredible.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think there's an extremely high level of technical polish and draftsmanship and cartooning throughout. I think that what's interesting is that this stuff most alludes to animation,
Mm-hmm.
and has a quality of repetition. Again, we'll see more of that later. But the way that these characters are posed in these 4 panels is not animated at all. It's much more formal, right? They're staged one way, and then in panel 1 they're staged another way in panels 2 and 3. And you wouldn't really think of them getting from panel 1 to panel 2. It's a really abrupt transition, and it's disorienting. The lighting's completely different. And then in panel 3 they've returned to in panel 4 they've returned to the first position. And I think what's really interesting is the change from panel 2 to panel 3, where in panel 2 there's a window and you see a rack of knives, I think. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at the bricks in panel 2, there are faint white lines of the top edges of the bricks in the sort of black field of the wall. And in panel 3, the light goes out in the room, so the window disappears, bricks disappear, everything becomes even more isolated and claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the dialogue here?
The dialogue, all of the Al Columbia dialogue and everything is really elliptical. Mm-hmm. And in this case, and in many other cases, it's really simple and direct. Which is another way that I think you can get toward the, Disney Fleischer pastiche thing. if you see him honk this horn and I'll come to where you are, if he sees you stand perfectly still and don't move a muscle, I sure hope we don't see the bloody, bloody killer. Like, very, like, stilted, direct. I think that there's, like, I keep thinking of this work as nightmarish, not just because it's scary, but because of the quality of a nightmare as being, like, like dreamlike, divorced from context, free floating, and things happening that are either non-linear or almost too linear, too direct. And I think there's something about this, like the dialogue is more like a children's book than a cartoon.
Yeah. So shall we look at something that's somewhat more elliptical?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah, and this gets into the lack of finish, right?
Yes.
Can't overstress. This is just what this page looks like. We didn't do anything to this.
Yeah, a lot of the book is like this.
Yeah.
It really is kind of shocking, actually. And it's not like I'm not used to seeing weird art or whatever, but it so continually veers back and forth between, you think you're like, oh, I'm in a narrative now. I'm reading a story. The Pim and Francie, they're going to the woods. There they are. I know them. They're the characters that the title is about. And then abruptly, not when the story is over, there'll just be something like this. Is this from here are my questions. A, is this from a specific story? Did he get this far in the drawing, decide that he didn't want to finish it, throw it away, and then later on dig it out and put it in a book and send it to Fantagraphics, and then they took a photograph of it and they were like, this is sick, we'll put it in the book? Did he instead 100% intend for this to look like this from start to finish? Was he like, I'm going to draw this incredible guy on this messed up sheet of paper that's not even a whole sheet of paper because I got a great idea for him?
The fact that, to me, maybe I'm wrong about this, but to me, because the one of the sketchiest qualities is the fact that they've drawn all of these different positions for the character's right arm. If they had actually picked any of those positions, they would have drawn the whole body differently. Posing this figure like this makes the most sense if you intend to draw all of those positions at once. Which makes it seem like this is the intended finished image.
Okay, sure. I don't disagree with you there.
Yeah. But in that case, why does this look like this, right? It brings you back around. There's another really vexing thing about this that I think is hard to pick up. It's a small detail, but there's all of this writing in it that is outlining pieces of a plot and a cast. And then if you look at the character's briefcase, it says Acme Knife Co. backwards, right? Mirrored, right to left, right? Did this get drawn, scanned, reversed, and written on top of? Did he just write the text backward, and if so, why? What's going on here?
Yeah, at what point did this get reversed? So it could have been, one possibility, a lot of comics artists work with a light box, which is just like you draw a sketch on one piece of paper, you put the sketch on the light box, which is just, a flat thing that lights up. And then you can see through the paper to the sketch on the other side, and you can ink over it for really clean inks. Problem with that is he seems to, from the other images of this book, just be inking on top of pencil lines that are already there. So it doesn't seem like something he would do. So did they... Possibility number 2, this is a drawing on one side, and then he flipped it over, deciding he didn't like the drawing, and then wrote some notes on it. And then for some reason, when this got scanned in, we are seeing both layers at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Possible,
okay.
But interesting. Possibility 3, all of this was 100% intentional.
Yeah.
And he has done it to unsettle us, which, let me tell you, it is It does unsettle me. This is the format of this book. It's, I don't know. Maybe it's dumb to let this really get to me so much, but it is so. The fact that I can't tell what is meant and what isn't meant is like it like.
Yeah.
It makes me go like this.
Well, this is the public debut of Abelard's big aesthetic theory of mystification that nobody knows about.
Ooh,
Or if somebody already
Abelard,
wrote about
Abelard.
this, I don't know about it. So write in the
Get
comments
ready.
and say whoever said this.
I'll put up a title card so that it's really official. come into the center because this is
Okay.
this is your
All right.
moment.
Okay,
I'll be back here.
thanks, Joe. Viewer, here's Abelard's theory of mystification. There is a quality in aesthetics and art making which aims to present an irresolvable but logical whole. There are multiple, facts or presences or qualities that don't quite fit together in a linear way, but seem like they are intended as part of a whole. And this is one of those things. It's not just a bunch of random stuff. It's not two things that don't belong together. It's a group of things that subtly cannot coexist, but it's irresistible to try to fit them into some order. That's my theory, and if more stuff comes up like that in the future, I'll talk about it then.
Do you have a good example other than this book of something that follows your mystification scheme?
A bunch of the designs in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, interesting, unexpected choice.
Yeah.
What can you? What?
Oh,
can
this
you-
will be good because we can put up an image.
We can put up an image, and you can.
Okay, the stand Whitesnake in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure
Whoa, he looks so cool.
has the magic power to punch a CD out of your head that has your personality. And then you could put that CD in somebody else. You could punch the CD into somebody else and then they get all of your personality traits. Okay, Whitesnake is patterned with the DNA ACTG repeat motif. That doesn't seem like it fits with the CD thing, but it doesn't seem like it doesn't fit. It seems like it implies a higher order that you just don't understand.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Viewers, write in with your ideas about what mystification is, and I will come in the comments to support you or shut you down.
Hell yeah. I am mystified by this book.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful drawing, beautiful hand positions. If this was the intended and final, form of that this drawing was always meant to have, it's great. The interaction between the filled in blackness of the guy's suit, his weird little hat, and then the hands are, as they kind of move farther back, they get slightly lighter. The position of the one hand that's jiggling I guess it's probably a bobby pin or something, trying to pick the lock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. This is layering of things onto a surface here is just, I don't know, it's really gorgeous. There's a good composition even though it looks like it happened on accident. Shall we look at a different piece?
I would love to look at the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it stands in an interesting... This is more mystification, baby. This is another thing. Hey, look familiar? It's the guy from before. This is sort of what I meant by the quality of animation. It's the exact same drawing of the face. You could superimpose this one over the previous one and they would be identical.
Yeah.
But some stuff is the same, some stuff has changed. The posture of the body is the same. The idea of there being many arms has sort of mutated from a notion of an accident of the sketching to an actual quality of the reality being depicted.
This looking at this drawing reminds me of, I feel like this is a move that you see in like films sometimes, where the camera just pans past something that's bizarre and inexplicable, and then you're left to kind of deal with that, but it's already gone. Like you can't interact with this guy. He's like kind of like he's like emblematic or something.
Yeah.
He's why is this happening? He doesn't seem to be reacting to. Is he on fire? I guess he's on fire. Does he want that? What does the expression on his face indicate? I couldn't tell you. Is he juggling the knives or just letting go of them? It's there are only more questions the more I look at this.
Yeah.
And that's pretty incredible. I also want to draw your attention to the little black leaves that are on the ground there. I think the particular way in which they have been arranged, and some of them are lifting up into the air, like the sense of movement in that. Like there's one in the foreground that's got a tiny shadow under it because it's still drifting around. You look at this for a moment, and the more time you spend with it, the more time the drawing comes alive.
Yeah.
Like I swear I can hear those leaves wrestling as they blow from off screen towards this man.
Like compare the physicality of the leaves and their motion, and they're in the sort of bottom half of the image, and in the top half, in the darkness, the knives are just floating. There's nothing to make you think that they're moving.
Yeah, they're perfectly still. And this is like a big contrast, right? The moving flames, the moving leaves, the frozenness of the part of the drawing that you would maybe think would have the most sort of swirling motion. No, perfectly still. Because let me tell you, when this guy wants to draw something that's moving, you can tell.
Yeah, it's not a mistake that the knives aren't spinning and that they seem to be sort of floating in midair.
Yeah.
And that there is a domain of the image that is like physical and in the environment, and there's a domain of the image that's isolated.
Yep.
In the darkness. And that like the tiny bit of environmental detail that creeps in this weird alley, the hatching, like we haven't seen a lot of hatching so far, on the trash bags that show like the directionality of the light. But then once you're on the like flat plane of the ground, then it's all done with wash.
Mm-hmm. Does this image scare you, Abelard?
No.
Yeah, I don't know if it really scares me outright. It's really beautiful. In what way do you find this book scary precisely?
I thought that the first 4-panel thing was scary.
Yeah, that's interesting because I didn't find that first 4-panel thing scary. There are some drawings in this book later of, do you know how in an old animation, sometimes a character would walk past some trees in the forest and the trees are like, doing one of these?
Yeah.
So there's a drawing in here later where they walk by some trees and the trees have like horrible hanging distorted mouths and all of their teeth are rotten.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I hate that I have seen it. It's like, oh God.
That
like,
might be the single most unpleasant drawing in this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that part scared me. That's like as beautiful as these drawings, I can't like read it before dark. I guess the fact is that it's more of a slowly scares you over time as the stuff piles up.
I think it's atmosphere building punctuated by these moments of like conflict and violence.
Yeah.
To me, there's so much implied horror.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this panel of a radio saying "No matter what, don't go to sleep," that I found like really unsettling.
Yeah. That one got to me too. It's
yeah.
the stuff that I find there are moments of like abrupt and horrible violence. Sometimes between the Pym and Francie, who are our title characters, who we're usually just seeing kind of like running away from something scary, or oftentimes you see them and they're just kind of behaving cutely towards each other, but not always.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do horrible things to each other, and those moments are incredibly distressing.
Yeah.
Because that's basically the only through line in all of this are these two little characters. And I think they are in our next image here. If I can... here we go.
Yeah.
So here we go. Classic Pym and Francie.
Yeah. We got to get up here because
no.
it's kind of a wide...
We wanted you to be able to see this whole thing because it's so great. And I wanted you to be able to see it nice and big. This is just a photograph of the book I got from the library, so it's maybe not the best image. For real, like, if you can get a copy of this book from the library and you're in a good mood or whatever, it's beautiful to have in book form to page through.
Yeah. Or if you're one of those people where getting properly scared can help out your bad mood.
Yep.
Right, so this is a little closer to what the experience of reading this book is, which is disconnected incident. Does the second thing follow from the first thing? I don't think so, because the characters are dressed differently.
Yeah.
But are they kind of connected? Compositionally, yeah.
Yeah, check out how beautifully these two images have been laid out together. Look at how the whiteness of the sky and the whiteness of that empty, like, thought bubble there just kind of, they don't even line up perfectly, because you don't need to do that. They just need to be adjacent. They're just close enough.
Or apart from that, look at how the elements in the image mirror one another, right?
Wow.
It's kind of abstract, right? But you have, like, a little object of interest in the bottom right-hand corner. The cup, candlestick, and bowl in the right-hand side are Pym and Francie on the left-hand side. You've got the piled-up thing in the leftmost two-thirds of the image in both sides. You've got your, like, horror object to fixate on in the top right corner on both sides. Like, it's like they repeat each other.
Yep. So here we have Pym and Francie again, little siblings, I guess.
They're either siblings or, like, married, and it just changes arbitrarily from page to page.
They are running towards the truly terrible looking maw of this building here. And the ink wash in this drawing is so subtle and delicate. And there's a lot of pictures in this book, and we can't show all of them because it would take too long, but there are some of the most exquisite, perfectly, like, just a little bit of ink. Just the tiniest bit of ink to make the paper a different color than white. And sometimes it's applied in the picture on the left, where it's kind of flat, but not perfectly flat.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, if you look over on the picture on the right, the way that it is textured in those bricks, and this isn't even the most, like, striking example of this, but he can do this thing where he does the sort of very comic book black outlined figures, and then comes in certain parts, like in their eye, or just in the background, or in their mouth, and comes in with this absolutely, like, insanely almost photographic looking textury ink wash. And it sometimes you look at it and you think, did he just, like, lay a black and white photo in there?
We were talking about that with or I think there were some that I specifically looked at and I thought, that has to be a photo manipulation. You could not lay down texture that, like, you can't use ink to make things look like that. But I think you're right. No, it is just the ink wash. Yeah.
It's just the ink, and he's just really good at it. Yeah. And it's the ink plus the contrast with the, like, cartooniness of everything else, and it really, again, it is the unsettling thing of, what am I looking at? Am I looking at the real world? Am I looking at a photograph? I can't tell. Or is this just more drawing? Everything is continually, in all of these images, like, dissatisfying you, making you question your perception of things. Um, it's just, it's insane book to read. The thing is, I keep coming back to it. Like, it's like got me really good. Like, I hated my first experience of reading it, kindly, but the drawings are so obviously exquisite and being done with such skill. I keep going back to it over and over again, just to like have the book open, looking at this drawing, and just like kind of sit with it for a while and learn new things about it. And then in a way, the fact that there's no wrap up on any of these stories, that it's just these disconnected images, it gives you so much room to ponder stuff.
Yeah.
I guess.
There's a lot of... It does feel like a text that leaves so much open that there's a lot of room for you to explore and play. And we had talked a little bit, it being the spooky season, about House of Leaves. The book that you have to turn upside down to read it.
Wasn't Philip reading that?
Philip said
wasn't he supposed to come by and do a literature minute on House of Leaves? What happened?
He said he was going to start it, and I was skeptical, but not because he like reads all the time. But,
yeah, of course.
Like, he texted me that he was having trouble. There are parts that you have to turn the book on its side to read, and he was having a lot of trouble just, pushing it over that way. So I think later, after we wrap this up, I might go over and see if I can help him move it over so he can read that.
You're such a good pal.
Yeah, I mean, he's
really
fun to
nice.
hang out with,
Yeah,
and I want to help him out, He seemed pretty flustered. But that is a very... I appreciate that they're doing what they're doing. That's a very gimmicky, directive way of getting somebody to engage with the physical act of reading a book differently.
Mm-hmm.
But, reader, you can read whatever book you want by turning it upside down and flipping the pages back and forth and trying to impose your little order on it. And this book is so interactive. It rewards so much you choosing how you want to engage with it, how you want to flip through it, where you want to put your attention. Things will sort of coalesce together over time.
Yeah. Maybe that's the scariest part, that it doesn't, it doesn't seem to be a static thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if someone was like, yeah, you've been Pim and Francie again tomorrow, there's going to be like 20 different drawings in there, and they're all oozing around talking to each other, I would say, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Yep.
It's not like there's a narrative sequence I can follow, even though somehow it always seems like there is. Like, look at this this spider guy.
Yeah.
Like, is he the knife man? He's got a lot of arms. What
Yep.
happened to him? Did he get round? Is he ever going to come up again in the book? No.
Yeah. And much like the, here's another literature reference.
Okay.
Much like how in that book Hopscotch, where you have to flip back and forth through pages in like a non-linear
this is
order.
the novel Hopscotch by Julio Cortázar.
Yeah. In Hopscotch, you flip through the chapters in a non-linear order. You read like 2, 70, 150, 53, etc. Like a choose-your-own-adventure. Mm-hmm. But the book brilliantly understands that when you do that, you're going to keep seeing names of people that you haven't met yet. Just the process of flipping through it is going to give you this disjointed understanding of what's going to happen in the rest of the book, because you'll see all of these scenes. And then act on it by randomly dropping new characters in without warning in the narrative itself. Pim and Francie seems like that to me. Mm-hmm. With the understanding that you'll be leafing through this, characters just will pop up and reoccur, and you'll see scenes out of sequence that kind of fit into something you saw a few pages back and maybe something you saw 20 pages later.
Yeah, and then you're like, did he just empty out his junk drawer?
Yeah.
But then you're like, no, because look at how exquisite these drawings are.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh, man. It's crazy. Abelard, what do you think Al Columbia is afraid of? Do you think he's afraid of finishing a book?
Yeah, well, he doesn't put a lot of work out, but I think that's the curse of somebody who is a serious perfectionist.
Yeah. Yeah, that's this perfection. The scariest thing. No, there's other stuff is scary.
No, that guy on the
No.
right's pretty scary.
Yeah.
I'll
I'm
take
not scared
perfection
of
over that guy any day.
What are you most scared of, Abelard?
I'd be scared of not getting to do this show anymore.
Aw, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, friends, thanks for dropping by. Spend a little time with us in the spooky season. Remember, be careful if you get this book. There's some pretty messed up stuff in it.
Yep, quick reiteration. But have fun this Halloween.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
And until then,
Keep on dreaming.
oh my god, that was so much fun.
That was pretty good. Alright, I'm gonna go under